Let's review our Sunday school lesson for today. We are in the fall quarter for the months of September, October, and November. And it is entitled God's Law is Love. We're looking at God's law relating to faith in Jesus. We're going to look at some of the rigid traditional observances of the law of Moses. And we're going to connect that with faith in Jesus and how we can follow his law of love and compassion. For unit number 1, the month of September, our unit is entitled Love Completes and Law Falls Short. A look at the Gospels of Luke and John. And we're going to be talking about empty practices and heartfelt application. Our lesson for today is lesson number 2 for September the 10th, entitled Doing Good Deeds at the Wrong Time. The printed passage is Luke 14, verse 1 through 6. As we continue this thought in which we're talking about the law of Moses and how Jesus came to fulfill that law, to show us how to carry out that law without being so rigid and without being so technical, not being so, I think the word I want to use for us to get a true understanding that we are so law abiding that we can't follow the Spirit of God. As we think about this lesson today, Jesus again is invited into the house of Chief Pharisee. And as he comes in, Jesus notices there's one with dropsy, one that has disease that has plagued them, in which their face, their mouth, all have become, hands have become inactive. Jesus knows this is happening on the Sabbath day. As he sits there, he asks these lawyers a question. And he simply says, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? And as they sit around eating and religiously feeling some upright because this is the Sabbath day and they see this one with dropsy among them, Jesus asks a question that even lawyers can't reply to. Now, that lets you know that that's something serious right there. When lawyers who love to talk no longer can talk. Jesus says, is it lawful for this man to be healed? Nobody says anything. And Jesus heals him. And when this man is healed, Jesus asks all of them a question. Which one of you on the Sabbath day has an ox that falls into a ditch, would not go and get that ox out of the ditch even on the Sabbath day? And what Jesus did here, in law they have something they call technicalities. It is a way that you can get around certain things. And Jesus knew that there was a technicality in their observance and rigid observance of the law. A law would tell them on the Sabbath day you ought not to do nothing. Anything you need to do it on Friday. But Jesus knew there's a technicality. If your ox, your money maker, falls into the ditch, you wouldn't let that ox die and your family go hungry and you not be able to do what you need to do. You would not allow that to happen. You would give a grace period in there. You would allow grace to come in, that you would go and get that ox out, and that you would allow that ox to be free, even on the Sabbath day when you are to do nothing. And what Jesus did there, he took their own minds and thinkings concerning technicalities, and he showed them, made them weigh in law terms what was more important, an ox or a human life. And Jesus, as he looked at this one with dropsy, left them speechless because they knew that a human life was more important than an animal. And yet in their hearts, they would not let Jesus do any good at this time. Let me tell you something, is when it comes to being lawful, following the law of God, it's always a good time to do what is right. And I'll go a little bit further, and I'll say it's always the right time to do what is right. Amen. That's being lawful. Amen. Doing what is right when you know what is right to do. But these of Jesus's time had it mixed up. They told Jesus in so many words, for doing good, you are being unlawful. But when I look at the law of God, I look at the fruit of the Spirit of how he wants us to live. Galatians 5 says this, that the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. And watch this, it says at the end, against such there is no law. So I tell you this, it's always the right time, and it's always a good time to do what is right. Amen. And by doing what is right, you'll be following the law of God.